Hello, my name is Ruchi. I'm an executive life coach, NLP practitioner, keynote speaker, author, and former lawyer. Welcome to my podcast, The Good Coach. This podcast is driven to tell stories about professionals and their journeys which has led them to where they are. My guests today are two very special guests, Ekta Tejwani and Camille Filona. These are two amazing women who have together started the Mother Founder Movement and Community, an initiative of the Meet Mums with the idea of creating a space for conversations towards changing the narrative on how mothers run businesses and how they are perceived, empowering and supporting mothers with a business idea to be seen, be supported, and help build their businesses through global connections, community, curated events. Meet Moms thrives as an ecosystem for the community of mothers and mother founders. Welcome to my show, ladies. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ruchi, for having us here.
It is such a pleasure to have you. So let's dive right into it. Tell me a bit about Meet Moms and Mother Founder and what inspired you to start it?
Well, Mother Founder actually started as a networking, community building platform for mothers for their social needs and support. Support in the sense of providing in the online space of having mothers to connect based on geolocation, kids' age, and in the offline space in terms of having basic, play dates, coffee catch-ups, networking events, educational events through subject matter experts, and also businesses that were catering to mothers. It was during this time, multiple networking events that we met, that we realized that the businesses that are owned by mothers, there's a different narrative. It's a different pie. The pie is actually cut very different for mothers who are running their businesses. And I'm sure Camille would, be able to shine a light more on the experiences of how when a woman starts a business versus when a mother starts a business, what's the difference? And I would love for her to, share her experiences as well.
I think one of the things that we realized being in the startup space. So when I started my business about 4 years ago, I was lucky enough to be able to take it through an accelerator course. And I realized that a lot of the resources that were available to entrepreneurs and startups at that time were all quite male centric, I would say. And also, very much catering to, somebody who's able to really devote 24 hours, 365 days onto their businesses. And as we know, as mothers, our pies are cut incredibly differently. So for us to be able to approach, building our businesses and really being able to make that successful, we have to approach it in a different way. And I think it was in that realization that we figured out, okay, maybe there are ways that we can build those resources for ourselves and mothers like us.
Amazing. So I'm sure it's not something that comes naturally and easily. It's not only for ourselves, but as a perception towards people who are responding to you as, the founders, mother founders. So what are some of the challenges that you think you faced, and how can you share with our audience so that they can learn from them and maybe overcome them as well?
So I think, there are a lot of phrases that I think mother founders will find very familiar. Oh, how's your passion project going? Oh, how's your little blog? That sounds interesting. That really sounds like something a bored housewife would do. And I think this would resonate with so many of us who are trying to express our passion outside of the home. Because, so there's been such a long narrative of grassroots businesses, home run businesses, being seen as just something that mothers do without really looking into, the real story behind it, where these kinds of businesses are the businesses that have grown families, have held families for generations, have built communities, have really raised families from one generation to the next to be able to rise out of where they are. And I think those kinds of businesses and the businesses that we run, I think as mothers, are always towards impact, and it's always towards relationships and always towards community building. And I think, you know, that's why we want to be able to shine a light on what these mothers are doing.
It's value driven. Sorry, your business, this business is usually value driven. It comes from a space of, I want to make a difference in someone else's life, give them value, and not just do it for the sake of doing it.
And that's the thing, that, you know, these are the stories that are somewhere lost down the line. We always hear stories about, you know, the big successes, the fundraisers, and, you know, the idea where the impact these stories have, not just on the families, but the economies per se, not just on the meaningful and the meaningfulness and the value that they create for their customers, but the actual impact that these mothers who have taken a career and lifestyle choice to probably raise the next generation, but do something in wherein they find value for themselves and value for the communities as well. So we very strongly believe that, you know, each of us has a story to share, right? There is some story behind each of us.
Absolutely.
And these are the stories that not just need to be seen, but to be heard, and for them to be saying these stories out loud, being proud in a room that I run my business, I run my company.
It's you know, more than the external validation, it's the internal identity crisis that we go through. And I'm saying this because the same thing happened with me. I was a lawyer for the longest time. When I decided to move careers and decided to start my own business, the reason for another day, but I remember when I started my practice and my business of running, of coaching, when someone would ask me, what do you do? It would instantly come out, I'm a part-time coach. I don't know why I said that. I have no clue why I said that. I said it for a long time till I realized, and it was my own self-awareness where I realized, why am I calling myself as a part-time coach? I run a full-time practice. Probably I was comparing the income, probably I was comparing the working styles to my former life of being a lawyer, where it is cutthroat, it's a corporate scenario. I had that hefty paycheck come in every month. And here I was just starting off in my own company, and I felt it was probably a part-time thing till I had to change my own narrative, which was, I am a coach. I run my business full time. It took me time. So it's not only the external factors, I believe, it is our own internal validation and that internal fight for giving ourselves that due, which is what you girls are doing, and it's so needed.
I think that's exactly like, you know, it's like these definitions of what success means, how it looks like, how it's supposed to be, have been kind of fed from generations into us. And it's after you kind of have, you know, a space where you want a familial connection, where you want to raise your children, is you realize that these are your own subconscious and conscious biases that you put forth. Oh, it's a passion project, it's a small project, I'm a small startup. We don't feel proud because we feel in that room, our worth doesn't matter. But that is what, we so strongly believe in, that what each of us does matters, what each of us stands for matters. And there is a difference. There has been a difference from generations, from legacies, for each of our stories to look back in and see how they actually impacted. And it makes you think, why am I belittling myself? Why am I calling myself small? I am a company. I may not have the paychecks. I may not have the hours, to spend, but I am creating value into this community system.
Lovely. So tell me, what is that one advice you could give someone, a woman who's on that cusp of starting her own business? What is that one thing you've learned that you want to share with them?
One thing, because I think every day is like you're still learning something new.
Yes, we have constant works in progress, but something you wish you had, someone would have told you this, given you this advice. What is that advice you can give another woman who's ready to start her own business?
I would say, for me, had I known, because I was following a set standard of how business needs to be run. Nobody ever told me that to start a business as a mother and as a founder and as, taking care of yourself, the pillars of having a balance manifesto and a business manifesto, having those, even if it's like 60% ready, even if you have an idea of how your balance, we talk about balance plan canvas, the how, the who, the what, the when, but we never talk about your imposter syndromes, your disruptions that you may have, the school holidays that you may have, your non-negotiables. Having a mix of them as a idea, as an ideation, that how do you envision your lifestyle to be? How do you envision your goals to be? How do you create that balance between your mother, founder, and self? I guess that having that clarity would have made things much easier for mother founders at least.
Thank you for that. So what are some of the misconceptions you think that is centered on women entrepreneurs?
I mean, I think it's hard to talk maybe specifically about women entrepreneurs. I think we come more from the experience of mother entrepreneurs. We make the distinction. A lot of people ask us, okay, why is it mother founder? Why isn't it not part of the female founders, or like the women entrepreneurs? I think what we speak of is a very specific experience, because not to belittle or put anything onto that onto the experience of other women entrepreneurs, but I feel like when we put hours into the work that we do, it's in a sacrifice to what hours we put into the family, into the kids. So in terms of an exchange, there is great, there is such a value more that we put into what the hours that we put into the work that we're putting in these businesses. So for us, I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is being able to find that balance of, where do you put your energy, and how do you do that in a very efficient way? Because we can't spend the 8 hours or the 14 hours that people usually put into their businesses. So how do we do that in a way that is most effective for our business, but also leaves us enough, fuel in the tank for ourselves and for our families?
So what would you say is a myth or a misconception here, that it's just because you're a mother, you're a founder, and you have a family, is the misconception that it's really hard? Is it the misconception that it's easy because you're just a mother founder? What would you say is a myth or a misconception about being a mother founder?
Well, I think, so I'll just quote in, there is this World Economic Forum report that came out that talks about that there are 2 billion mothers in the world and 1 million mother founders. That's less than 0.5%.
That's it.
So clearly it's not easy. Clearly it's not difficult either. It is about having the right tools, the right setup, the right support, the right narrative to follow and feel about yourself, that actually changes between the myths and, having this. Because of course it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. But if there is driven by purpose, if it is driven by the right tools, if it's driven by the right support, there are a lot of ifs that come into place. But it is about how you define your success to be a mother founder.
Beautiful.
But I think the myths around it is that mothers can't do it.
Yeah.
And I think most of the time that myth comes from the mothers themselves.
Yes.
And
our imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I say this because that was exactly one of the struggles that I had. I mean, I've had a passion for education, and especially for cultural education, for Filipino cultural education, for a really long time. But I never that it was going to be possible that I put up a company and create that content for myself.
Amazing.
And it really took a lot of, working with a coach, which is very, very important. I have to tell everybody out there, get yourself a coach.
Yes.
No, I mean, really, because it took working with her for me to realize that, that this is something that I could do. Because I always felt like, okay, I don't look like, a startup bro, right? I'm not Zuckerberg or Gates or any of these guys. And so how can I be a startup? How could I be an entrepreneur?
It's
right?
overcoming all those internal barriers and limiting beliefs, stepping out of your comfort zone, and yes, achieving it. It's because it is possible. That's the biggest
Absolutely.
beauty of it. You have all the answers in you. This is the coach in me talking. This is all your answers are in you. It's just you need that support through that external factor helping you pull it out of you. Get those answers out. They're sitting in there waiting to be found. So, my next question is if you could have any superpower, what would that be? What would you think you would want as a superpower?
Oh my goodness, I probably would want to stop time. So you can have more time in the day to do the things that you needed to do.
What about you, Ekta?
I think for me, I would love to have the superpower of telepathy. And the reason would be so that I could actually let anyone know, as we always so strongly believe that, you're not alone. You could just say, there, I'm just there. So yeah.
That is such a noble thought. Thank you for that. And let's dig a bit deeper into this space of startups and how do you network? How do you build relationships in this community as women, mother entrepreneurs?
I'll leave that to the community experts.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's about finding, there are challenges, especially as mothers. We do have challenges when we have that transitional phase of moving from being a woman to being a mother. There are so many needs when it comes from your social, your physical, your emotional, your medical needs, that kind of everything comes into place. And that's what started the binding. The challenges that the similar kind of people face is where the community starts, with the purpose that how can you help? So everyone starts at a different point. Everyone is at a different.
Understanding your why is a good way to start the network and the relationship building.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I'm saying.
Sorry.
I'm saying based on what you're saying. My question was, how do you network? How do you get out there? So, is it with what you're saying, answering the why first, what it means to you?
I guess so. I guess that's where everything starts from, right? It's like why you want to do it. The how comes later on. It's like, what's your purpose of networking, whether it's through online media groups, whether it's in-person groups, whether it starts with, your close families and friends. The idea of why you're doing it and how can you provide, what can you provide. The concepts of networking and building a community, there is a lot of ideas that go into it. What's the seasonality of it? Come May, June, July, all mothers are like on vacations, or the kids are home. It's like, that's not going to happen. So unless and until you can cater to their needs, cater to their challenges, and help in a way of bridging the gap and providing services, that's where the networking happens. If there is a need wherein, for community, especially as we said, like we started as an event-based company. The idea was community building. The idea was creating opportunities for mothers to connect. Even through play dates, the focus was always catering to the needs of the mothers. Mm-hmm. And with the mother founder movement, the idea is exactly the same. Each of us are creating things in silos. Each of us are running towards the same thing, creating value-driven, helping the community, doing good. That female embodiment, that get hold of yourself. You can do it. The transformational required, they say this, the convince, and so there's this quote by Lisa Nicholas, who says that, give your dream a chance. But the idea to give it a chance needs to have some structure. So to create these women networks, how do you create them? Is to actually kind of drill deep down, just like you do at your coaching exercises, which are amazingly brilliant, is to drill down and see, why are you doing it? Is it just for coffee meetups? Are you just doing a WhatsApp chat? Because the venues are many. There are just so many venues. It is not about how you do it. Is it why you're doing it, why you're present?
Beautiful.
It's about what impact can you make through these community catch-ups. So I guess that's where we kind of come in, that when someone comes to our events, it's not about, hey, hi, which is good to have sometimes, but when they walk out the door, are they inspired? Are they going out with value that we want? So most of our things that we do, it all comes down to, why are we doing it? How are we doing it? So I guess, that's where we stand.
Taking from your quote by Lisa Nichols, how close is your reality to your dreams? How is that structure going?
In a metaverse, Ruchi, it's the era of metaverse. It's like nothing is a reality anymore, nothing is a dream anymore.
How close are you to your dreams? What stage of your dream are you at?
You're living it.
Beautiful.
Are we?
That's amazing. What do you say, Camille?
It's a work in progress, yes.
There's always
progress.
Yeah, and there's always space for growth. I think one of the challenges of goals and dreams is that you're always chasing the next one, and once you get there, then what do you do? The question is just like, it's always the what's next. So I hesitated in answering because I feel like I'm trying to come more from a place of really enjoying what's here and what's now. It's like, yes, there's a plan. There are steps that I'm following, but it's not like how I was in my 20s where, okay, I'm going to be the executive producer of National Geographic and that's my goal. And when I got there, I was like, now what? Right. So I think I'm going from what I learned there and also, just really trying to be able to capture really what's going on at that in this moment, and really building more on relationships and being able to tell stories and being and living and expressing my own story as well.
I'm totally with you. The reason I asked about dreams and goals is because I believe absolutely it's the journey that matters. But we need those end goals or those end, dreams, because it's like the GPS of a car, which direction to start walking in. Once we're on that journey, the direction can change. But the starting point, somewhere to start walking towards, and there's this lovely quote that comes to my mind right now is, the destination is a mirage. It's the journey that matters. But we need that starting point, that end goal.
I will then say and interrupt you. Our starting point probably is going to come in May, which is we are hosting a Mother Founder Conference. Right now focused in Singapore. But our next step or the next dream would be to actually...
Okay, ladies. So tell me something. If you could go back to your teenage self, what would you tell your 18-year-old? What would that piece of advice be on how you could do things differently? Or maybe same, you think you're happy with how you ran things. What is it? What would you like to share with your teenage self?
So I think for me, what I would tell her is actually what my dad always says, which is quite a funny thing to say, but it's something that always has struck me. It's like, it's going to get harder. So, it's just a different way to say, don't sweat the small stuff. So, the things when you were younger, it's just like, oh, this is the worst thing. And I'm like, the world is going to fall apart. It's going to end. But you're like, you know what? The more life experiences you have, the older you get, the truth is, life just gets harder. So whatever you're going through now, this is just, battle armor for you to build, to face what's coming up next, because life, it just rolls along and it just gets harder. And that's what I tell her.
That's amazing. And then it's funny that, she did say that what her dad says. And I think I would say the same to you. Like my dad, since I was 5, as you were growing, would always say, dream big. I think I grew up thinking, is it? And I think the one thing that I would want to say my 18-year-old self is like, continue to be naive. It's okay to be naive. Like, feel opportunistic, feel big. But yes, life definitely. I wish I had that learning when we were 18 to kind of mix it both and say, it's going to get harder. Continue to be naive.
Thank you, ladies. And my last question for you all. Do you think confidence has a role to play? And how does one pull that confidence out? Because, I've heard people, I've read things that confidence must be inborn, which I think is not true. Confidence is a skill that can be acquired. So what are your thoughts on it? What is the role of confidence in you running your startup, your platform? And how did you pull it out if you felt that you were lacking it at some point?
I'll again like to quote like both my dad and my mom here, who would say that, trying is half the battle won. It's only when we try is when we realize that, oh, I can do it, or oh, I'm so bad at it and I need to try hard. But it's when you try and you realize, the abilities that you have or the things that you need to learn. It's like building blocks. Small things build confidence, but unless and until we give our dreams a chance, unless and until we believe that willpower will take us places, unless and until we believe what we stand for, these little things kind of, I believe, help in building the confidence, and I guess that's where I would say is like, try. Like, yeah. And then she says is like, don't talk about it, show it. I don't know what's the sentence that you say, that show it to me, don't say it.
I don't know. I say a lot of things to you.
maybe she means let's get to the action bit, not just the words. Is that what Camille means? Show it by
I think we
action. Sorry, I said when Camille is saying something,
maybe
show the action rather than just the words.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, because for me, I think confidence for me is that, I think something that I always try to remind myself is that it's, it doesn't always have to be there. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days, and that doesn't have anything to do with your ability to be able to do what it is that you need to do. So I think more than confidence, for me, it's more of an innate belief in myself that I have what it takes to face what will happen. Whether the outcome is going to be good, whether the outcome is going to be great, whether the outcome is going to be disastrous. I have what it takes inside me to be able to handle that. If it's good, if it's bad, I have what it takes. So, I mean, I don't know if that's more courage than it is confidence, but I think that's what I draw from, at least.
I think confidence and courage go hand in hand. You need the confidence to feel the courage. So it is, I think, merged together, and it's beautifully put. Not so much confidence in doing something, but showing that confidence and handling the result, whatever it may be. So thank you for those beautifully shared golden nuggets, all that amazing value, ladies. I think my audience will take back some amazing stuff from both of you. Thank you for your time and coming on The Good Coach. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you.
That's awesome. And we learned so much from you too. And thank you so much for this.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.